The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
We're all familiar with the three whats: what it is, what it can do for me, and what does it cost. Tyler Rickenaugh, Country Financial, can help you find the answers with insurance coverage to help protect what's most important to you, all at a price you can afford. So while you're juggling work and kids while trying to keep an eye on your financial future, Tyler Rickenaugh, Country Financial, will make sure they are the first ones there when you need them most.
The kids are back to school, and your schedule is busier than ever. From daycare pickup, doctor's appointments, sports, and college tuition, a parent's signature is a powerful thing. Have you ever stopped to think, what would happen if you weren't able to provide one? With thoughtful estate planning, you can make sure that your child's health and education needs are met in the event of your absence due to a temporary incapacity or even death. The estate planning team at Hurley Burish is here to help.
Fostering deeper relationships, influencing behavior change, developing resilience. You're about to start winning. Here is your host, Christine Bright.
Welcome to Parenting Game. I am so glad you are here. Now, we have all heard the stories of parents choosing poor choices during sports events. And we know that loud and aggressive behavior, nobody wins in those situations. My guest today is Glenn Derby, who has been coached by some of the best and currently coaches and can help parents be a sports parent that the coaches, the refs, and their kids all want to see. Glenn, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So before we, dig in, share a little bit. You have daughters who are in sports, and just a little bit more about your family.
So a lot of people will say I played football for 17 years, and when we got pregnant and we're going to have kids, everyone kept going, I bet you want a little boy, football player, blah, 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 because I had played football all the way up into the NFL, and they all thought I wanted this boy, and I just kept in the back of my head saying, no, I don't. I want a girl. And I got very blessed to have two wonderful daughters, and when there were times in my life when I was going to their events, and I would watch the coaches, and I would, in the back of my mind, going, man, that coach doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And I'd have to come home and talk to my girls about what was going on, and I would get into this, that, and everything else, and they just kind of looked at me like they didn't care. Mm-hmm. So I cared so much more about what the coaches were doing, and they were just playing and having fun. And then I started as a coach, getting a lot of parents coming and complaining to me and, saying their kid needs to do this and that, and you get all these parents that think they know more than you do, and they might. But here's the thing that I learned is that a coach takes time away from his family to go help your kids. It may be for ulterior motives, but whatever it is, they're taking time out of their life to help your kids play a sport, and they're giving up their free time. So respect that. Mm-hmm. Realize that and understand that the coach is doing the best that he can. It may not be to your standards, but it's the best that he can do. And so how do I switch over, because I was always into football, and now I have my daughters who are in soccer, which I'd never played or coached, volleyball, basketball, all these. How do I support my kids as a parent and not be a coach? And that was really hard to do.
So just share, we're going to get into this a little bit deeper, but share just one switch that you made when you noticed that and wanted to be one of those parents that the coaches and the rest wanted to see. What was one change that you made?
Well, it wasn't a change with my own daughters, but it was something that I had watched and read about, and it was and I wish I still had it because it was beautiful. It was this team was in the state championship, and this kid was the goalie, and right at the last second, the ball went right through this girl's hands into the net, and they lost. So they lost the state championship. And then what it did was it showed two scenarios. One of the scenarios was this girl walking back to the car while her parent is going, you know, honey, it's okay, you're really good, blah, blah, blah. And she was talking and talking and talking. They got in the car, the parent didn't shut up, kept telling the kid how bad they felt, how bad it had to be, and all of this. And then they said, and they did a complete different one where they had the kid walking off the field going to the car. The parent followed and said, you know, I love you so much, and I know this must be hard. And then they shut up. Didn't say a word, got in the car, complete silence. The kid did not want to talk. The parent, of course, wants to say all that they can say to help this kid, but you just shut up. And they got to the ice cream store or wherever they were going, and the kid just looked and started crying and said, that really sucked. And the parent was then able to say, it did suck, and I'm really sorry. You know, I was there, I felt it. It's horrible that that happened. Don't try and fix it. Don't try and just let the kid explain or talk where they're at. They had ice cream, and then the kid wasn't sad anymore and was just fine. It wasn't that big of a deal that she lost that game. It was more of a big deal to the parents. And many times, we as parents don't realize that we care way more than the kids do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Way more, and that's not helping the kid out at all.
And you know, it's always hard to leave space with no conversation, isn't it? And isn't that usually where we get ourselves in trouble in
100%.
any relationship?
Yes.
Just trying to
100%.
fill that air. And we're, you know, I talk to parents all the time, I know you do too, is it comes out of like goodness, right? I mean, we don't like to see our kids hurt, but we're doing more harm than good when we do those situations. So let's get just a little bit talking about you and your
Okay.
experience and what you all bring into what you do now. You played college and pro ball. And you know, you shared with me that these were great experiences for you. So what did these how did these help propel you in what you're doing now and in life in general?
I would say, and you know, and I have a rule in my family that you have to be involved in two activities. So my daughters were not allowed to not participate in something. Because here's the thing, if you're competing and you're working with other players, you're learning life lessons. And sports to me is like the greatest life lesson teacher there is out there. You learn how to lose, you learn how to win, you transfer that into, I made the sale, I didn't make the sale. You know, if you lose a championship, you lose a multi-million-dollar deal, it's the same strategy. What do I do? How do I get myself to go win the next sale or the next whatever? And how do I get myself to the next game? Those are all life lessons that I feel sports gives to kids. And now my job as a parent is to get my kid involved, give them opportunities, show them, hey, this can be a great game. You know, my daughters and I talked a lot about, because they're going to be taller than everyone else, they could potentially be college players. Neither one of them want to play college. That was hard for me, because when I was a kid, that's all I wanted to do. And so I would look at them and go, you really don't want to? They're like, no, I'm not really that interested. And that was hard for me, to sit back, like you said, and shut up and just say, okay, let's just enjoy high school. Let's just enjoy middle school. Let's enjoy this game, have fun with it. And as a coach, that's hard to flip that over and be a parent, because you want to coach them. And that's one of the things I will coach them when they ask. Sometimes I'll push it and they'll look at me and give me a look and I go, okay, I got to shut up now, you know. So it's all about the relationship and giving them opportunities.
So do you feel playing the sports for you, because you're an entrepreneur, you have several businesses going on, that being in those sports helped you learn resilience and how to healthy
100%.
Process losses and healthy winning?
100%.
I mean, often we think winning is like all good. There's healthy winning, and then there's unhealthy winning.
You know, and I think yes, 100%. And I think that a coach can traumatize a kid that fast. They can switch a kid from loving a sport to hating a sport in an instant. That needs to be taken seriously with all of our youth sports. You know, we have such a push for a club and all this stuff where winning championships, creating winning. Winning is not about how many games you won. Winning is about getting your young athlete to learn skills to help them in that entrepreneur world and the crazy world that we live in. You know, it's a negative, difficult world right now. These skills that they learn will transfer over. The problem is the majority of our youth coaches who are normally parents, they're focused on the win-loss and the championships. The wins can be in a game that you're getting your ass kicked when you see a kid giving effort and working his butt off. Even though they're 20 points behind, he's still working. That is a huge win because when you're in life and you're getting your ass kicked and you're getting knocked down, what's the tendency to do if you're not an athlete learning those skills is you go and withdraw and you quit. You say, I don't want to do it. So for me, all those lessons of getting knocked around all those years playing, when I get knocked around in business or in things now, it's like, you know, for a moment, yes, do I get sad? Do I get down? Yeah, absolutely, that's human nature. But I have those skills that I learned. No, you get yourself back up, you get back in the weight room, you get back doing what you have to do to get better. And that's what the game has taught me.
And the interesting thing is I don't know about you, but once I got into college and started, you know, my career path, did you have anybody ask you, so how many championships did you win? How many games? You know, and as parents, we get so focused on that and we feel this is going to propel our kids, and nobody asks. Nobody asks. Nobody has ever asked to see my track ribbons when I go.
Right.
So it's so important that, you know, you're bringing that out.
Yeah.
You were coached by some of the best.
I had some great coaches.
And then you became a coach. What lessons did you learn from the coaches that coached you that you have brought into your coaching?
You know, it was about the relationship. The coaches that I felt made a difference in my life were the ones that I could tell cared about me. So I'll give you a good example. I had a coach in high school who was very soft-spoken, was a very caring man, would give me advice and suggestions in a very non-threatening, non-harmful way. And it worked for me. And I appreciate him to this day for some of the things that he told me, but more importantly, how he cared about me and how he would look at me like he cared that I got the crap beat out of me and so forth. Then I had a coach in college who just was a hard ass. I mean, he was all over me, negative, but the thing was, he cared about me. So I didn't take those negative, like, you know, calling me names and whatever. That didn't bother me because I knew he cared about me. I had other coaches that would, you know, talk really M or F or you, this or that, and you knew they were only cared about themselves. Didn't work for me. So I learned, and what I like to portray is when I'm coaching a kid, and I will tell them this, I'll say, where do you want to go? What do you want to be? And if they say, I want to be a college player, I'll say, well, good. I know how to get you to be a college player. And some of the things that I'm going to say to you, you might not like, but it's because I want you to get to that next level because that's what you want. I'll have other kids that say, we don't, like my daughters, I don't want to play in college. Okay, but you want to play in high school? Yes. These are the things you have to do to get on the varsity team as a junior and senior. You have to work in the off season and get on them. And, you know, like I'll say to my daughters, hey, it's time to go to the gym. One of them will say, nah, I don't really feel like it. Well, then you must not want to start on your team next year. Oh, yeah, I do. Well, then you got to go to the gym. And so that's how you kind of push them. Find out what they want and then care about how you're going to help them get there.
That is so important. You know, we know with anything nowadays, to be successful, you should always lean into relationship first, you know, before you offer advice or help, is have that relationship piece. Who is the person, and maybe you can't narrow it down to one, but influenced you the most so far?
Well, I can say, you know, there's not one, and hopefully everyone out there has more than one. But I can say when I was in middle school, it was my 8th grade basketball coach. Kane was his last name. Gary Kane. He gave me some suggestions and lessons that I still to this day remember. And one of the ones was he said, I will always take responsibility for our losses, but I hate to lose, so I'm going to work your ass off when we lose so that we will win. And he goes, I will give you all the credit for winning. And he did, and he backed it up. When we won games, it was all about the players. When we lost, it was all about the coach. But you knew when you got to practice on Monday, you were going to be working your ass off because you lost. And
Yeah.
so he was a great one. My high school coach, I talked about him. His name was Sherm Bai. Talked about him. My college coach, Dave McLean, was phenomenal. Every time he would get up in front of the players, he would talk about life lessons. And he would always say, men, football is a lot like life. You're either going to get better or you're going to get worse. You never stay the same. And so every day you get up, you have to go out and try to get better. Mm-hmm. And that's how we are as a football team, and that's how you're going to be a man in life. So that was good. And then when I was in the NFL, Jim Mora, this was a guy who, was very intense. He was very successful. The thing I liked about him is he treated the all-pro players the same as the free agents, the same as the draft. Everybody got treated the same. And every day I went into practice, I always knew where I stood. Mm. I always knew he was going to treat me no different than anyone else. And I wasn't one of the, all-pro, play all the time players, but I still got treated the same way, and I was very impressed with that.
One thing I want to point out is, we are in our 50s-ish. And you're talking about middle school coaches that have influenced you. Yeah. And I think it's important for parents to know, whether you're a parent coach or you're going and supporting your child, these positive or negative experiences stick with you.
And I if there's one thing that I can portray here that people can take with them, that I hope and pray they do, is as a parent or a coach that's not a parent, whoever you are, you can make a difference in a kid's life in a positive way, and you can also ruin a kid's life in a negative way. Mm-hmm. And these kids have fragile egos, they have fragile minds, they hear everything you're saying. When you're a parent sitting in the stands, and I'm guilty of this, and I'm on my phone chatting with somebody or texting someone, and my daughter makes a good hit on volley, she saw that. And she'll say that to me, Dad, you were on your phone the whole time. I was on one time, I missed one play, but she thought it was the whole entire game. Put your damn phones away. Don't talk to your parents next to you. Watch your kid. And what you do is you point out the good things. You say, holy cow, you gave so much effort on that. I was impressed. Mm-hmm. Wow, you did that really good hit. And then she'll bring up, but I did this. You know what? That's okay. You made some mistakes. The coach will help you out. The coach will help you fix your mistakes. Focus on what you did right. That effort was incredible. I saw everything you did. I was watching you. I was cheering you on, and just, God, help them build themselves up. It's so easy to tear a person down. Mm-hmm. And so many coaches, and especially us old school people, we used to have coaches grabbing face masks and screaming in our faces and literally kicking us in the ass, and swearing at us. And, fortunately, some of us were able to make it through that. There were many, many athletes that was the end for them, and they never played or never did it again, and it's sad.
Well, I want to go back to what you said. It's really important about this intentionality and taking notice of what they have done well, because we never need help recognizing what we didn't do right. I mean,
100%.
They are very aware of what they didn't do right. Yes. They're going to have plenty of other people telling them what they didn't do right. But what you shared is be that one that is noticing what they did do right. And again, it's hard, as a parent, because you want them to be successful, and we think, well, the only way they're going to be successful is if we point out what they did wrong and fix that. And I'm so glad that you're sharing that's not the case. Mm-mm. They need you to be, a cheerleader. And you had said a statement when we were talking, something about don't be a fan. what was the statement that you had? I had it written down. Yeah, it was.
I
so
got
good.
one of those 40-ish memories.
Yeah,
only
yeah.
I'm
I
50
should
or
have.
something.
I should have did. But you made basically what you were sharing is be their cheerleader. Be in their corner. You don't need.
Well, they've got plenty of critics. They don't need another critic. What they need is they need somebody that cares about them. They need somebody that's going to support them. I don't know if it was like be a supporter. They don't need you yelling at them. We always say in trench training, praise loudly. So when you're praising someone, be as loud as you can. Let everyone else hear you're being loud. I embarrass my girls all the time because I'm always loud, like, yeah, and I'll yell out their names, like, great job. And they're embarrassed in front of their kids, but I don't care because it's praising loudly, and I want them to hear that. I don't ever criticize loudly. I always criticize softly. So if I have something to say, I'm going to say it in a more private mood to the coach or the players. Always say, criticize softly, praise loudly.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was one of the points that I did want you to, to talk about. I should have recorded that Zoom call.
Yes.
I could not write fast enough with everything that you were sharing.
Yeah. It'll come back to me on the way home.
And I'm assuming it's not copyrighted because
Right.
I'm totally
No.
stealing it. But
Yes.
I'm going to go back on my notes. But you, okay, this was another statement that you had made that I wanted you to explain a little bit more on. Parents provide opportunities, but they can't dictate outcomes.
As a coach and as a parent, this is critical, in my opinion. We all want outcomes. We cannot, I'm very blessed to have been a part of a team this year, Kettle Moraine, who won the state championship. I played 17 years in football, 12 years in basketball, coached for over 20 some years, never won a championship until this last year. It is so cool and it's so awesome to be a part of that. However, I didn't dictate this outcome. I didn't, for all those other years, we all wanted a Super Bowl or we all wanted a state championship or we all wanted the Rose Bowl win or whatever. You can't dictate those. As a parent, I don't care how much I yell, how much I coach, how much I do to my kid. I cannot dictate the outcome of what this kid's going to do. Like, for instance, if my daughter said to me, Dad, I want to go to college and play volleyball, then I would say, I'm going to support you. I'm going to offer you opportunities. I will pay for all these camps for you to go to. I will put you with the best coaches that I can find. I will do whatever I can to support you so that that's a potential outcome. I don't dictate it. When these parents say that these kids that are in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, if they don't do this, this, and this, they'll never play college, guess what? They're not going to play college because of what you want. They're only going to play college because they're going to work their ass off because they want it so bad, they're going to do all the things they have to do. So you don't dictate outcomes, you provide opportunities. And always, I was always asking my girls and telling them, what do you want to do? 2 activities minimum. My one daughter didn't, she played basketball for a while, had a really rough coach, and she lost interest and quit. So I saw a coach actually turn my daughter against a sport, and it was really heartbreaking, and I just had to shut my mouth and realize that's the coach. Nothing I can do but try to support my daughter. So she decided she wanted to ride horses instead. So she rode horses, and she played volleyball. So she did horses and volleyball. My other daughter was doing volleyball and then got hurt. She dislocated her ankle, didn't want to do that anymore. She decided to be a singer. So she was singing every night to singing lessons. And then she played basketball. So singing and basketball. My other one was horses and volleyball. Just provide opportunities and support. My daughter that did singing lessons is not probably going to be a Mariah Carey. My other daughter that was horse lessons, she's not going to be a equestrian champion. I don't provide the outcomes, I provide the opportunities. It's up to them to work on the outcomes.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of controversy over participation trophies and this and that. You know what? You're going to lose. You're going to get your ass kicked. And if you don't learn it as a young kid in athletics, you're not going to learn as an adult. And what are you going to do as an adult? you're going to get knocked out of all these different businesses and you're just going to quit. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know, and sports can teach you to overcome all those difficulties.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Brene Brown.
Oh, I love Brene Brown.
Yeah, and she is the authority on where does hope come from? Hope comes from struggle. And as much as we hate to see our kids struggle, if we want them to be resilient, if we want them to be hopeful, if we want them to be able to, think strategically, we need to let them struggle.
Imagine this, telling your kids to say, thank you for that loss. Thank you.
Ooh.
Thank you for that loss because you just gave me an opportunity to learn something that I'm going to change. If you thank everything for the wins, it's not going to mean as much. Wins are great, and wins are what you want. Like I said, what's the one saying Lombardi always said? Now I'm going to forget it. Winning's the only thing that matters. Something like that. It is what matters, but it's the process to get there that matters. That's what's going to create that win. And you're not always going to get it. I mean, I've seen the most talented, hardworking teams lose to a lesser team. On any given day, you can lose, and same thing with you go in, you got all your business plans put together. You sit down with the bank and you say, "This is a great idea," blah blah blah, and the bank says, "Nope, not going to do it." Now you just spent months and months trying to create this business plan to get this thing going, and you just got shot down. So what do? All right, thank you. Thank the banker. I must have done something incorrectly. I'll go back and redo my business plans.
What can I change?
And I always tell my players and girls is, if you're not getting playing time, parents, do not go bug the coach about playing time. What you do is you go to the coach and say, "Coach, what can my son or daughter do? What can they do in order to get more playing time?" Put it back on what the kid needs to do. When you talk to your daughter, "Scarlett, you're not getting as much playing time. What do you need to do? What are you doing in practice? Are you working hard every single time? When the coach tells you to do something, do you do it? Are you getting involved with the players when they're all over here yakking and not paying attention to what the coach says?" Because those are things that matter. So if you go back and you change whatever you're doing, you're going to get more playing time. But if you go bitch at the coach and say, "Hey coach, why the hell am I not playing?" And and the coach in his mind's going, "Because you didn't work hard on Wednesday night." And then the parent comes in screaming at the coach, "Why the hell's my," and I've had this happen, and I've said to the parents, "Meet me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 3:30. I want you to watch practice with me, and I will show you what your son's doing. I will show you how much effort he's putting in. I'll show you him jacking around and pulling people's hair and throwing water on people and goofing around. I'll show you all the things that he's doing not to get playing time."
Yeah.
So don't
snowplow the way for
Correct.
your kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Go.
Just say the only thing you can control is your effort.
And as a parent, making the opportunities. Okay, I'm going to have you back because we are
Okay,
coming
are we
out of time.
Okay.
But lots of great information on
Yeah.
how parents can be that parent that the coaches, the refs want to see, that their kid, wants to have them there, and just make it a better experience for everybody. But before we go, what is the website?
Trenchtraining.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much
Thank you,
again.
Christine.
And thank you for tuning into the Parenting Game.
We're all familiar with the 3 whats: what it is, what it can do for me, and what does it cost. Tyler Rickenaut, Country Financial, can help you find the answers with insurance coverage to help protect what's most important to you, all at a price you can afford. So while you're juggling work and kids while trying to keep an eye on your financial future, Tyler Rickenaut, Country Financial, will make sure they are the first ones there when you need them most.
The kids are back to school, and your schedule is busier than ever. From daycare pickup, doctor's appointments, sports, and college tuition, a parent's signature is a powerful thing. Have you ever stopped to think, what would happen if you weren't able to provide one? With thoughtful estate planning, you can make sure that your child's health and education needs are met in the event of your absence due to a temporary incapacity or even death. The estate planning team at Hurley Burrish is here to help.
Thank you for watching The Parenting Game. All episodes of The Parenting Game are available on demand at sunprairiemediacenter.com.